3 weeks ago, I released this book, Needy, Why Validation is Destroying Us. It has been endorsed by leaders across business and academia, including South African billionaire Mr. Rob Hassoff, who wrote the foreword. And 3 days ago, I was invited on SABC3 Espresso Morning Show. And I was asked a question that stopped me. Is validation a youth issue, or are professionals and leaders experiencing it too? And I gave an answer that even surprised me. I said, validation is not a youth issue. It is a human issue. Yes, the youth are feeling it socially, but professionals and leaders are also experiencing it too. Always chasing the next title, always chasing the next recognition, always chasing the next thing that tells them they are enough. And I've met billionaires and millionaires who are so poor that the only thing they have is just money. There is a poverty that is deeper than bank accounts. It is the wretchedness of the human condition deep down in their spirit, deep down in their soul, where they measure their worth by what they have. And many people run into trouble when the things they have, the clothes they wear, the cars they drive, and the houses they live in forms the basis of who they are and their identity in the world. Because losing those things means losing themselves. And that's what validation does. Validation replaces direction. Direction is your internal compass, your sense of purpose, your vision for your life, and your values. And when validation replaces that, you stop asking what is right, and you start asking what will they approve. And over time, what happens is that you begin to weaken your decision-making and your responsibilities. And when your decision-making has been weakened, that affects your performance. And I think part of what I'm going to be doing today, because I don't have much time, is to just give you keys or an antidote for validation. I know that there have been a lot of articles and behavioral studies for the need to manage validation. But I don't think the antidote for validation is strategic. I think the antidote for validation is your humanity. One of the greatest tragedies is that we are the only species who knows what it means to be any other creature except for what it means to be human. As a matter of fact, we have become experts almost at everything except at ourselves. So what does it mean to be human? As a matter of fact, let me begin by saying every human has 2 parts. We have what we call features, and we have what we call essence. Features are what people recognize in a moment or a season. Things like your accomplishments, things like your appearance, things like your face and your voice. And the essence, on the other hand, is who you truly are. Your values, your character, and your purpose. You can pass the test of features, that is, you look like a human, and fail the test of humanity. And history has shown us that when people disconnect themselves from their essence, they become dangerous. We have had leaders who had the platform, who had the power, but yet they were inhuman. When history talks about Adolf Hitler, what comes to mind? He's recorded as inhuman. Even though he had the features, even though he had the voice, the appearance, and the power and the platform, but he was inhuman because he disconnected himself from what it means to be a human, from his essence. So essence is expressed through 3 unique capabilities. Number 1 is to love. To love is to eliminate fear around you. No other species has the ability or has the capability to love. You know, people say dogs love. No, they don't. Dogs don't. You know, to truly love, you must first have the power to hate and choose love in spite of it. And we are the only species that can do that. When people around you must have to edit their behavior so that they can be accepted by you, then there is something with what you call your love. You know, when your love is complete, when your love is full, people are able to look up to your correction for inspiration. No one should be able to hide what they do when your love is complete. People should be happy to do what they want to do or what you want them to do because they are inspired by your teachings and your guidance. So that's the first key that makes us human. The second one is our ability to give. You know, when you give to your children or when you pay school fees for your children, that's not giving, that's provision. That's your constituency. You are expected to do that. To give is to empower a world beyond the one that you own. You know, a year ago, I sat down with the director of Excellent Meat Holdings. I was training their senior managers, and he invited me for coffee. I sat down with him, and he looked at me and he said, Namon, do you know that success has no meaning if it's not making a difference in other people's lives? I just sat there, I didn't know what to say. And then he continued and said, I know this statement won't make sense to you right now because you are not yet successful. You know, I was very troubled. I got home that night and I picked up my pen and paper and I said, I want to be successful in such a way that my success becomes a rallying point of comfort so that those who are weak and vulnerable can find comfort through my value. When you are able to give, you know, if you look around you or if you show me a person who is struggling with validation, and I'm going to show you a person whose love has been compromised. Show me a person who is struggling with validation. I'm going to show you a person whose giving has been compromised. Key number 3, therefore, is our ability to save. To save is to advance vision in the hearts of other people and solve demonstrable problems. You know, I'm reminded of the story of Mother Teresa. When Mother Teresa died, it is recorded that the countries of Albania and India almost fought for Mother Teresa's grave. Do you know why? Okay, first imagine that Mother Teresa wasn't even a millionaire. She just dedicated her life to service. But when she died, 2 countries almost fought for Mother Teresa's grave. Because the country where Mother Teresa would be buried, that country will attract tourists. And those tourists will impact on their per capita income and GDP. Just a life dedicated to service. If I ask many of you in this room, who was the richest person in 1990 to 1993 in South Africa? I bet no one would be able to tell me that. But if I flip the same question, between 1990 to 1993, who are people that contributed to the liberation of South Africa? Almost everyone here would be able to give me an answer, including a 5th grade student. Because deep down, we know that what it means to be a human is our ability to love, to give, and to save. And when that has been compromised, we become inhuman. So the question on how to overcome validation, it's not about strategy. It's not about behavior studies. It's about understanding what it means to be human. Man, the room is very quiet. What's up? yeah, yeah, yeah. Very, am I making your life? I'm making your life hard here. Yeah, no. Making you think, right? I love that. I love that. So you have to understand, yeah, again, your ability to love, to give, and to serve. Okay, is not like complimenting my talk. It's telling me that time is up. Okay. Okay. So that's that, ladies and gentlemen. The ability to love, to give, and to serve. That's the antidote to validation. And I'm going to close with this. I think that what we need again is what I call agency. The word agency means an organization that offers a service on behalf of another organization. But beyond that, the word agency means to influence your own thoughts and action. And I think what we need is to begin to have an honest question with ourselves. Who am I when no one is watching? And when you have done that, begin to influence your own thoughts and action. Have that agency. I know that life is hard and we are being targeted every day through marketing behavior. There's just so much going on. But have agency. And you can start that by reading my book. So I brought you copies today. Yeah? And I brought a card machine as well. You swipe, I get the money, and you get the book. Done. Yeah? Okay. So before you go and sit down, I want to leave you with this question. I want you, when you get home today, ask yourself, am I living my life from my essence or from my features? Because if you don't define yourself early, then the world is going to define you. And that's how validation destroys us. Thank you for having me this morning.